Alright, so this video is going to be a primer on what happens in the Shadowbringers healer role questline. If you've seen it before and you want to check things out from a potentially different perspective, or you don't care for the backstory and want to get straight to the action, then skip ahead to one of the 2 times that I've put there. I'll probably put one for the actual quest start and then one for the battle, keep things interesting. However, if you'd like to know the context of the video, stay tuned as I explain the story so far. Following the return of night to Lakeland, several hunters are re-empowered to take down unique sin-eaters known as the Cardinal Virtues. This video tells the tale of Giot, the dwarf that would hunt down Sophrosini, a virtue that's taken the form of a dwarf most foul, Lamit, one of the warriors of light that brought forth the flood. At the behest of the village elders, Giot hunts the virtue on account of giving dwarvenkind a bad name, a dwarf that flies around maskless for all to see, reviving lesser sin-eaters wherever it goes. Being based on one of the fools that wiped out the land is bad enough, that their shaming dwarven tradition is far worse. After an introduction and a brief chat on traditional values, skills are put to the proof, and Giot is convinced to bring the warrior along for the journey. The first proper step of the journey takes the pair to Colusia to see how Sophrosini works its strange magic. Following a light pummeling of eaters, the virtue appears out of nowhere and revives them, whereupon the warrior is hit with an echo flashback showing them Lamit's beginnings. Giot is understandably worried at their teammate suddenly zoning out, and after being roused from unconsciousness, the warrior explains what they saw. A bit puzzled by this definitely dwarven behaviour, Giot suggests retiring to the pub to think on the next leg of the journey. Sometime later, drunk as ever, Giot's decided on the next part of the plan: try and heal a sin-eater. After arriving at Armorang and downing half a flask of what one would charitably call alcohol, Giot suggests that the warrior finishes the flask and rushes out to pummel some more eaters. A short while later, Giot's found next to a sin-eater, still recognisable despite having been bludgeoned with a warhammer, and invites the warrior to try and heal it. Nothing happens. This prompts Giot to explain that sin-eater is less of a creature and more of a puppet that runs on light, meaning regular magic won't work on them. This has Giot pondering a few things: what sort of magic Sophrosini uses, why the virtue has yet to appear to revive the eater they've just killed, and why it didn't turn up at all during the Holminster incident, a place thick with fallen sin-eaters. With several things to consider, Giot hits the bar once more and resumes drinking the place dry. After spending some time in the Raktika Greatwood, the warrior learns that Giot has been banned from the library in their search for information on Sophrosini. Thankfully, the dwarf tells of another sighting of the Cardinal Virtue in Raktika, and suggests trying to take it down, the idea being that some combat experience might shed some light on the beast. After the customary sin-eater slapping, Sophrosini turns up and starts at its work, but only seems to revive the humanoid eater that's been left around. Following this, the pair take on the sin-eaters and eventually bring down the virtue, only for it to instantly revive itself. Staring right into the eyes of the virtue, the warrior gets hit with another echo flashback. They discover how Lamit came across the magic she was looking for, along with her end goal, that of saving her sister. Roused once again by Giot's well-tested methods, the warrior relays what they've learned to the dwarf, who doesn't ruminate for long before heading back to the bar. After going into the finer details of alcohol usage, Giot says they'll be working on learning more about the magic found by Lamit. Library bans be damned. Following the incidents in Yulmore that saw the ladder back up and running, Giot tells the warrior that they've found out some useful information. They've learnt where Lamit would have gone after securing the magic to save her sister, and promptly directs them to Tomra, their shared hometown. After a bit of banter in the square, the pair make for a cave near the outskirts of town, known as the Blight Warrens. On arriving at the warren, the warrior sees another sin-eater dead at Giot's hand, having apparently sprung from the unsealed tunnel. Tunnels, Giot explains, that were used to hold sickly dwarves. A contagious and incurable disease known as stone blight spread throughout the community, which would slowly but surely petrify the afflicted. Looking at the sin-eater again sets off the echo, revealing another key part of Lamit's history, of her return to Tomra. Despite her actions having saved the afflicted, the village elder banishes her for having trampled dwarven traditions. Her party tries to defend her, but she acquiesces, removing her helm and revealing her face for the first time. This decision sparks a mass exodus from the settlement of the dwarves who had been left to rot in the Blight Warrens. Cramped living conditions saw them remove their helmets to avoid suffocating, spurning tradition in the name of survival. Their solidarity moves Lamit, and she continues to travel with her party to find what continues to ail the world. Eventually, Giot's voice starts coming through, trying and failing to come up with inspiring phrases that would rouse the warrior from unconsciousness. The dwarf tells them how the eater was apparently not quite dead, and had to be convinced of it a little better, before asking what the warrior saw. Recounting the history lesson in detail, Giot is both amazed and unnerved, muttering to themselves before silently wandering off. Catching up to the dwarf, Giot is still ruminating on what they were told, and gives you an unceremonious send-off. Which leads us to the final quest, where I'll stop talking and let the game speak for itself.